إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها النبي لم تحرم ما أحل الله لك تبتغي مرضات أزواجك والله غفور رحيم وقال تعالى وعاشروهن بالمعروف فإن كرهتموهن فعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا ويجعل الله فيه خيرا كثيرا وقال النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم خيركم خيركم لأهله وأنا خيركم لأهلي أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام صدق الله مولانا العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Honorable ulama ikram, respected brothers and elders, in the previous Jum'ah we spoke about the hadith of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, wherein he exhorts us to display kindness to the general Muslim ummah. Today I want to become more specific and more focused and speak about this very element of kindness in the life of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam to his noble consorts and his honorable spouses. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam in many ahadith has stressed upon kindness towards your spouses. In fact, in one riwayat, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam says that husband who will bear the ill manners of his wife patiently, that husband who will endure patiently the ill manners of his wife, Allah will grant him the same reward that he gave to Sayyidina Ayyub alayhi salam when afflicted with sickness. And that wife who will patiently bear and endure the ill manners of her husband, Allah Ta'ala will reward that woman with the same reward that he gave to Sayyidina Asiya alayhi salam, the righteous wife of the notorious bloodshedder and evil man Fir'aun. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam in many ahadith, khayrukum khayrukum li ahlihi, O my Sahaba, the best among you is he who is the best to his wife. This is a general statement the Nabi of Allah has made, and then he has coupled the statement with a claim by saying, wa ana khayrukum li ahli, and there can be no one that is more kind to his wife than I. So one is the general statement that the Nabi of Allah has made, and one is he's coupled it with a claim. Of course, he has then substantiated this claim in the manner he has conducted himself. Like, on a light note, they say marriage. Marriage is an institution where a man loses his bachelor's degree and a woman gets her master's. They say this child asked his father, "Oh my father, how much does it cost to get married?" So the father said, "My son, I don't know, I'm still paying." Marriage certificate, they say, is another name for work permit. They say this woman was making dua. She says, "Oh my Lord, grant me wisdom that I understand my husband, love that I can forgive him, and patience for his moods. Because Lord, if I ask you for strength, I will stone him to death." Anyway, brothers, we have to see the akhlaq of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam. One person came to Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu complaining that my wife is very harsh to me. Let's look at how kind, what were the advices of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, how tolerant he was. We must understand, no two humans can make a perfect match. The attitude of zero defect, this is not possible, no practical. There will always be some clashes. Total compatibility, it's not possible and it's not practical. There will always be situations where you will have to compromise. But if we study the life of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam and that of Sahaba, look at Sayyidatina Sauda radiyallahu anha. Subhanallah, what a brilliant woman. For some reason or the other, the Nabi of Allah decides to divorce her. She comes to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam and she says, "Oh Nabi of Allah, before you finally divorce me, may I ask you a question?" Nabi alayhi salam says, "By all means, go ahead." She says, "Oh Nabi of Allah, are you upset with me over any matter?" Nabi alayhi salam declines and he says, "No, I'm not upset with you." "Oh Nabi of Allah, has it become difficult for you to stay with me?" Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, "No." Then she says, "Oh Nabi of Allah, I ask you and I implore you, please do not divorce me because I want to remain in your nikah. However, I have aged and I have passed the time where I have a physical need for a man. I forfeit my rights and I see you have a greater inclination towards your wife Aisha radiallahu anha. I sacrifice my night for that wife of yours. So the day it's my chance, you can go and visit your wife Aisha. But I want to remain in this nikah, so I can be resurrected on the day of Qiyamah as the wife of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Subhanallah, what was the foresight of this woman? Free from jealousy, free from uneasiness, free from rivalry. She forfeited her right and she secured the partnership of the master of both the worlds, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Once Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam was traveling with Aisha radiallahu anha. Aisha radiallahu anha herself mentions, the riwayat comes in Bukhari. Hatta idha kunna bil bayda, we came to a place called Bayda. In qata iqdun li, my pendant fell off and got missing. Now, every woman is passionate about her jewelry. Now look at how accommodating, how tolerant, how kind the Nabi of Allah was. Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, one day Aisha radiallahu anha took interest in seeing some play. Some children, some Ethiopian children were playing in the courtyard of Masjid al-Nabawi. But we must bear in mind, this was innocent play. This had no evil element towards it. And Aisha radiallahu anha says, it intrigued me and it interested me. So I said, this is my chance, let me sit and watch. And I put my head on the shoulder of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, and I'm burdening him with my weight, and I'm looking. Naturally, the Nabi of Allah has no inclination, but he patiently is waiting. Aisha radiallahu anha then says, you can well imagine a young girl when she's attracted by a play, how long will she look at that play? That is how long I burdened the Nabi of Allah, but he did not move, respecting me and honoring my sentiments. So there has to be time from one spouse to another. Anyway, we came out, and when we halted at this particular place, my pendant got missing. Nabi alayhi salam realized that my wife is passionate, that is me. فَأَقَامَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ عَلَىٰ إِلْتِمَاسِهِ. I started looking, and because of me, the Nabi of Allah started looking. So I delayed the Nabi of Allah, and the Nabi of Allah's delay delayed the entire caravan. Naturally, the Sahaba became uneasy here. So much time is going in looking for one pendant. They couldn't tell the Nabi of Allah anything. So they came to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and they told Abu Bakr, look at your daughter. I mean, what she's doing, she's looking for one pendant, it's causing chaos here. Why don't you find it and we can move? But the Nabi of Allah is patient, he's understanding the sentiments of this woman, he's kind, he's not getting upset, he's bearing it patiently, tolerance. Finally, the Nabi of Allah looked for it, Aisha radiallahu anha looked for it, they couldn't find it. The riwayat says of Bukhari, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam then put his Mubarak head in the lap of Aisha radiallahu anha and he fell off to sleep. Now he fell off to sleep, the time of namaz set in, وَلَيْسُوا عَلَى مَاءٍ وَلَيْسَ مَعَهُمْ مَاءٍ. Water is not available and nobody has wuzu. So they came and they started telling Abu Bakr, look at your daughter, I mean, for one pendant, how long are we going to sit and wait? So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu then comes to Aisha radiallahu anha, and he comes in a riwayat, he then presses her with a finger and he admonishes her, وَقَالَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ أَن يَقُولِ. He told her a mouthful, what's wrong with you, why did you do this? And Aisha radiallahu anha said, فَلَا يَمْنَعُنِي مِنَ التَّحَرُّكِ. I couldn't move my leg because Nabi alayhi salam's head was in my lap. So I'm patiently listening, my father is showering me and telling me a mouthful, and Sahaba are becoming uneasy. The Nabi of Allah then gets up, Sahaba are worried that there's no wuzu, there's no water available. Allah sends Jibreel to rescue them and the entire ummah. In moments of desperation, Allah reveals the verses of tayammum. Sayyidina Usayd ibn Hudayr then comes to Abu Bakr and he says, مَا هِيَ بِأَوَّلِ بَرْكَتِكُمْ يَا أَبِي بَكْرٍ. O Abu Bakr, whenever you and your family got into some predicament and dilemma, Allah Ta'ala on a disguised note made that very challenge a source of benefit. Here your desperation opened up the concession of tayammum for the ummah till the day of Qiyamah. So you will find when it came to these things, the Nabi of Allah was very kind. As I was mentioning the incident of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, one person had a problem, his wife used to back answer him very often. So he came to Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, and he thought that he will complain to Sayyidina Umar that this is the problem, myself and my wife, we tend to argue a lot. But as he came to the house of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he overheard his wife back answering Umar. In other words, the wife of Umar back answering Umar radiallahu anhu. So this person heard this and he felt that this is the same problem that I have. It must not be that when I present in this man's house and I tell him my problem, he perhaps thinks I'm referring to his own problem. So quietly he withdrew and he went away. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu heard some footsteps and then he seen people, nobody came. So he opened the door and he seen a man in the distance. He shouted out, he said, come home brother, what's the problem? He says, I have a problem, but in all due respect, I think, you have a similar problem. So I felt that it's not advisable for me to approach because my wife is a bit short-tempered and she loses her tongue and she becomes a bit aggressive. So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said, no, come home. I can discuss with you and I'll explain to you something. إِنِّي أَتَجَاوَزُ عَنْهَا لِحُقُوقٍ لَهَا عَلَيَّ. My wife is ill-tempered and short-tempered, but I overlook the trivial wrong of my wife for the many favors of her upon me. And perhaps it would be opportune to